Hi, my name's Ayo. I'm 20 years old and I'm a game designer. Throughout my childhood, I loved all different kinds of media, but I always gravitated towards video games. It started off with Mario Brothers 3 on the Game Boy Advance and then just progressed from there. Alongside that, I developed a love of art, which kind of started off with me stealing tracing paper from school to copy characters out of magazines, and then that turned into learning to draw freehand by filling up notepads and sketchbooks with random doodles. And then that became me teaching myself digital art and animation. So, sort of when landing on a career, it was always obvious for me, game design, because it combines the love of creating and drawing and thinking up new ideas with my love of video games. Throughout my teenage years, I entered BAFTA's Young Game Designers competition. And finally, in 2018, which was the last year I was eligible to enter, I was actually nominated for the Game Concept Award between 15 and 18 years old. So that was for a concept I created called Dream Detective, which is about a girl who is a psychic who can see the future in her dreams and sort of runs around solving mysteries. One of the things that actually kept me motivated whilst I was working on it was the idea that, oh, one day this could be adapted into a hit TV show or an animated movie or something. I bring all that up to mention two different things. One, that kids love to create, and two, the kids love video games. And I think I am a prime example of both. The definition of togetherness has sort of changed quite a lot over the last year and a half. It's sort of become a Zoom call with someone or a Discord server with friends, but I think games are different in that there's also a sense of physicality. There's a sense of being somewhere with someone or a group of people and doing something together. No other medium can replicate that feeling, I think. Animal Crossing is a great example of one. This is a way to create a space and bring your friends over and just do things and just chill out, which was really, really nice at a time when that was suddenly taken away from everyone. I look at my sister, who is 14 and who has had her school year completely disrupted by COVID, and I see the way that she uses like Roblox or something, or like Among Us, where she's on a call with her friends and playing the game at the same time, and I can sort of see that those moments that she would have on the playground that have been taken away from her, she is now replicating with video games, which is completely unique to that medium and just cannot be done with any other one. I think another reason why games are so good at creating that sense of togetherness, especially over the past year and a half, is the way that they create unforeseen stories. Emergent stories through the gameplay that nobody intended for there to be, but have been created by the players organically. Because they're interactive, they sort of open up they give players a way to make their own stories, which makes them personal, which makes them almost, I don't want to say more impactful, but impactful in a very different way than a good book or TV show is. No other form of media can encourage people to use their imaginations in such a way as video games do. I think now more than ever, kids want to create more than they want to consume. Now, kids are always going to want to consume media. There's always going to be a TV show or a film or a book that they're going to want to watch or read. But I think now, as the barrier of entry to create lowers and lowers and lowers, I think that young people, like my age and younger, are so dialed into creation that the time that they spend creating is outweighing the time that they spend consuming. I think things like TikToks, like simple memes and Reddit posts and Discords and all of that sort of has contributed to young people becoming so knowledgeable about how to create that they're spending more time doing that than anything else. Take Among Us, for example. The game was massively popular, but I think even more popular than the game itself was the memes that it inspired. It spawned remixes and fan art and all sorts of memes to where it almost becomes its own subculture. I think that's a really interesting thing that video games in particular do. I think that they lend themselves really well because of the emergent stories, because of the just how dialed in young people are to them, that they create communities around them, and those communities then bring people together. I don't think there's a young person out there who hasn't been affected by video games in some positive way throughout the pandemic. I think that every single one of us has had some kind of game that we've come back to that has sort of given us a feeling of being together with people, something to distract us with, something that has helped us build a sense of community when that was taken away by the virus. So, to conclude, I think that media is an incredibly powerful thing. I think that it can create communities. It can help build people's worldviews. It can help shape young people's ideas. It can help people understand each other. I think the video games should be appreciated for how unique they are in their power to do that, compared to a lot of different mediums. So